Let's take a look at square numbers. What are square numbers? We keep hearing about square numbers, but what are they? Square numbers are the areas of squares. In other words, let's draw a few squares. Here's one square. Oops. Here's another. Oops. Let's take away that middle one. Here's another one. Actually, that first one wasn't too accurate, so let's make a nicer square and let's do another one in a different color. And a final one over here in purple, just on the edge there. Let's say this has a side of length 2. This first one has a side of length 2. Well, if it's a square, all the sides are going to have the same length. So this side is also going to have a side length 2. If these two sides, indeed all sides, have a side of length 2, what's the area of that square? It's going to be 2 times by 2, which is 4. So 4 is in fact a square number. It's the area of a whole number square. Let's shade that in. Let's do the next one. Let's imagine another square. You can do almost any square. Let's do one that's 4 times by 4. Well, if that's 4, as I said before, they're all going to be 4 actually. This is going to be 4, this is going to be 4, because it's a square. Square means equal sides. And the area is going to be 4 times by 4, which is 16. 16 is another square number. 16 is another square number. Let's highlight that. 15, by the way, for example, is not a square number. There's no number, when you times it with itself, do you get 15. 3 times by 3 does not get 15. 5 times by 5 is not 15. So 15 is not a square number, but 16 is a square number, because 4 times by 4. Let's deal with one last square number, visually, which would be, for example, if that was a 3 and a 3. What would the area of that square be? The area of that square would indeed be 3 times 3, which is 9. So 9 is, you guessed it, a square number. Let's create a list of the first 10 square numbers. You know what? Let's be ambitious. The first 15 square numbers. Those are the ones you'll most likely need in any exam. First 15 square numbers. Well, 1 times by 1, whoops, black is not going to be a good colour to use. 1 times by 1 equals 1. So 1 is a square number. Let's underline and italicize the square numbers. Actually, just italicize. 2 times by 2 equals 4. So 4 is a square number. 3 times by 3 equals, and you'll start to guess them ahead of me now, is 9. So 9 is a square number. 4 times by 4 is 16. So indeed, 16 is a square number. 5 times by 5 is 25. So 25 is another square number. These are all worth memorizing, by the way. They are incredibly useful in all different types of exams. 6 times by 6 is 36. So 36 is a square number. 7 times by 7, can you guess? 49. So 49 is a square number. Notice 7 is not a square number, but 7 times by 7, 49, is a square number. The ones in italics are the square numbers. 8 is not a square number. 6 is not a square number, even though you're doing 6 times 6. It's the answer which is the square number. So 49 is a square number, or in this case 64 is a square number. What about 9 times 9? Well, 9 times 9 is 81. So 81 is another square number. Need a bit more space. We're going to do 10 times by 10, which is 100. So 100 is a square number. Now we get onto slightly harder ones, the ones that not a lot of people know. 11 times 11. Anyone know that? It indeed equals 121. That's a good one to know. 12 times by 12 is 144, which is another square number. 13 times by 13, we're almost there. 13 times by 13 is, not a lot of people know that, 169. And if we now do 14 times by 14, very few people know that off by heart, it's 196. Admittedly, the square numbers from 1 to 10, so 1, 4, 9, 16, 25, 36, 49, 64, 81, and 100 are the most common. They're the ones you really have to memorize. These extra 5 are still quite useful though. Let's do the last one, 15 times by 15, which equals 225. So 225 is a square number. A quick bit of notation though. Have you seen a symbol like this? 3 squared. What that little 2 means is indeed squared, because that 2 represents, like, you have 2 3s, it's like 3 times by 3, which is the same thing as getting the square number. And we know from this square down here that the square number for 3 squared, is 9. Again, if you had something like 11 squared with that little symbol, a lot of people think that's 11 times by 2. It's not 11 times by 2, it's 11 squared, which is 11 times by 11, which we now know is 121. That's just a glimpse into the beauty and power of square numbers.